Like many Nigerian youths, Obi has tried to secure employment on multiple occasions, and each time he tried, he got rejected. It seemed as though he wasn't lucky, or like several other Nigerian youths, it was just too difficult for him to get an employment. Obi was a graduate. He was smart. He had everything there is to secure a job. His CV was top-notch. The problem was that he had absolutely no working experience. And everywhere he applied, everyone seems to want a working experience from Obi. And what he told them often is that if you don't employ me to work, how would I have an experience to show somewhere else? At least I have to start from somewhere. Day by day, on every places that Obi intended to get employment, he got rejected, and that caused so much frustration for him. And so Obi became a hustler. He started doing whatever he could do on the streets just to feed himself. Think of any menial jobs you can think of. Obi must have done it. He has worked at a filling station. He has worked as a cook. He has done a house job. He has done a organizing work. In fact, he has even done a tailoring work. Obi has even done a scamming work. Whatever he could do that would bring immediate food on his table, Obi was willing to do it. Today, Obi woke up thinking of what he was going to eat for the day. And that was actually how he lived every day. When he wake up, it was a new day, a new time to hustle to get something to eat. So today he was just walking on the street, thinking of what he could do that would bring food on his table. And then he saw the notice on the wall. Quickly, Obi ran towards the paper and carefully read the content. Someone somewhere close by needed a house help. So, Obi did the logical thing he could do. He picked his phone, dialed the number, and made a call. At the end of the call, Obi was so excited. For the very first time in his entire life, someone has given him an employment. According to the man on the phone, Obi was to resume the following day. And so the next morning, Obi packed his things and started rushing to the venue. When he got there, he met the man. The man was looking old, but not very old. He looked wealthy, he looked rich, and he looked as if he didn't grow up in Nigeria. The house in which the man lived was big. It was so very big. And Obi started imagining if he would be able to clean the entire house. But that was not a problem. The most important thing is if the man was willing to pay him well. And so when Obi met with the man, they started negotiating. The man said he liked Obi already and he would want him to be working for him. Obi was happy. And then after much conversation, the man told Obi to name his price. This was unbelievable. Obi had never expected this. For him, he was thinking the man was going to offer him like maybe 30,000 naira or 40,000 naira. But now the man was giving him a blank check. Man, this is interesting. And so Obi tried his luck. He demanded to be paid 100,000 naira. The man smiled and said he will make it 150. Obi felt like crying. He quickly prostrated and started thanking the man. In response, the man told him that instead of you thanking me, why not just focus on doing your work well? As far as you do your work well, you are going to get paid handsomely. The man added that he actually lived alone, but his family was set to return from the United States in a week time, and so he wanted Obi to diligently clean the house in such a way that it would be sparkling before his family arrived. Obi nodded his head and said he understood. He was going to put in his best effort. And so the man left the house and Obi started his work. Started cleaning from the sitting room to the kitchen to the veranda, and then he went to the bedroom. The bedroom was looking classic. Obi minded his business and started cleaning. The more he cleaned, the more he felt a strange sensation in his body. He couldn't explain it. Somehow there was something about this room, or maybe there was something in this room that he couldn't possibly explain. And so Obi told himself that maybe it was the sensation of getting a new job that was happening to him. And so he continued doing his work. Then all of a sudden, his eyes caught gaze of something on the wall. It was covered in a black cloth. That was strange. Why would the man cover something on the wall with a black cloth? And he couldn't remember the man mentioning anything to him about the room or something he shouldn't touch in the room. And so Obi removed the cloth. And what was there? It was just a mirror on the wall. But why would a man cover a mirror on the wall? Obi hissed to himself and said, these rich people, they just like to do nonsense thing. And so he picked his duster and decided to clean the mirror. And that was when the strangest thing ever happened to Obi. In an attempt to clean the wall, his hand suddenly went straight into the mirror. That was strange, very strange. How could his hand enter inside a mirror? He quickly removed his hand, shocked, petrified, wondering what was happening. Or perhaps, was he imagining things? In a curious attempt, Obi dipped his hand again into the mirror just to be sure. And as expected, his hand entered into the mirror again. This is strange. Obi removed his hand again. He checked his hand. Was he alright? Was his hand alright? Everything was okay. Everything was intact. But wait, this was strange. Or was this the reason the man actually covered the mirror with a black cloth? But how come? How could somebody's hand enter into a mirror? In the third attempt, Obi tried it again, dipped his hand into the mirror, and this time around, another strange thing happened. By the time Obi removed his hand came out with a stacked amount of money. Wow, dollars inside a mirror? How could this have happened? Obi tried it for the second time. He dipped his hand into the mirror, removed another amount of money. This was shocked. Was it that this rich man was keeping money inside a mirror? He has never had anything like that before. And neither had he seen anything like that before. Not even in the movies. He quickly counted the amount he has removed so far. It was roughly about $100. Obi did a quick mental calculation and told himself that this was a huge amount when converted to Naira. This was going to make him rich. Very, very rich. He would have to remove more. Several more. Because Obi was certain that there was so much more money remaining inside of that mirror. But there was a problem. He was not having any bag to put all of the money. If he removed much more than this, he was going to get caught. And so, Obi quickly formulated a plan. He quickly finished up his work and left the house. Told the gateman that he has finished his work for the day. He will be back the following day. The gateman nodded and said no problem. And so Obi left. In a very quick attempt, Obi rushed to his house, looked for a big backpack, and returned to the big man's house. When he got to the gate man asked him why he was back, and Obi said he got home, he was going for another occasion, and realized that he left his phone behind in the man's house. The gate man said no problem. You can go in and pick your phone. And so Obi entered into the house with his big bag. This time around, he intended to pack as much as he could, fill up the bag, pick his phone, and disappear. This time around, Obi was ready for business. This is something that is going to make him rich. And he has to utilize the opportunity. He knew he had to. They say, opportunity comes only but once. This was his once in a lifetime opportunity. Obi carefully dipped his hand into the mirror, felt some paper with his hand and withdrew them. As expected, they were Naira bills. He smiled to himself. This was going to work. He tried the second time, picked some dollar bills. By the third time he tried it, he couldn't feel anything, and so he started dipping his hand further and further, further and further, further and further, and then. Somehow, Obi entered into the mirror, and that was it. couldn't understand what has happened. Somehow he found himself in a strange room, a tiny room that had no door. Everywhere was enclosed. And somehow there were people inside the room. We saw 3 other people inside the room with him. They were looking old, very old and tired. In a curious and desperate attempt, Obi asked them why they were looking so old and tired. They looked at him and asked him if he tried to pick money from the mirror. Obi nodded and said yes. They told him, well, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club, Ke. What do you mean, welcome to the club? They told him that the money was actually a trap, so that they can be trapped inside the enclosed room. Obi said no, this was not going to happen, that he had to get out of the room. They told him there was no way out. In fact, they had been trapped in that room for several years. Once you are trapped in the room, there was practically no way out. It was over. And that was how Obi, the hustler, disappeared, never to be found. I hope you have picked 1 or 2 lessons from Obi's story. Let us know in the comment box the specific lessons that you learned from this particular story. And I hope you do enjoy the story. Please support us as we continue telling you different stories from the African perspective. This is African Folktales with MJ. We would like for you to support us by subscribing to the channel. Like this video, share it with your friends, and turn on the notification bell. These little things have a way of helping a small channel like this to grow. And this is an encouragement for us to keep bringing you more genuine story from the African perspective. Thank you for following the story so far. We hope that we have been able to add value to you as we always try to do. Thank you and gracious.